Hello viewers, BlueEyedSaiyan back at you with another deck that I've created. Today it's going to be my pure zombie world swarm beatdown deck. Now it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's what it is all about. So to start off, we have 20 monsters, 12 spells, and 8 traps. A little different than my usual formula, just slightly, but you'll see why. Alright, so start off the monsters. We have Red Ogre, two Red-Eye Zombie Dragons, Endless Decay, and Malevolent Mech Goku in to round out the tributes. Or the higher powered monsters, whatever you want to say. Right, then we have 3 Paladin of the Cursed Dragons. Two Bone Crushers. Three Zombie Masters. Three Pyramid Turtles. Three Mezukis. And to top it all off for monsters, a Spirit Reaper. Alright, now on to the spells. 2 zombie worlds, of course. A terraforming. 2 Book of Lives. Two Solidarities. A Burial from a Different Dimension. A Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, and to top the spells off, two Mystical Space Typhoons. Alright, now for the traps. 2 Mirror Forces. 2-dimensional prisons. Bottomless trap hole. Compulsory evacuation device. And finally wrap everything up. 2 dark bribes. Now this is a deck that I'm really proud of putting together. It's been about a good 2-month process in order to, I'd say, perfect it. You know, there's always can be, there always can be more improvements made to a deck. Nothing's ever entirely perfect, but for what it is, I'm very proud, and I don't really know what else to do to really edit it, so to say, to improve it. But as you can see, definitely a lot of monsters for Swarm, such as Zombie Master, Mezuki. If Zombie World's on the field, you could really use Red-Eye Zombie Dragon and Paladin of the Cursed Dragon's effect to get back at your opponent's monsters who you destroyed. You also have Pyramid Turtle, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, Goblin Zombie's really great, but I really prefer Pyramid Turtle myself. I know it may be a bit slower option, but it really works. Especially a nice combo I like pulling, especially earlier in the game. Since I run 3 Pyramid Turtles, as usual, I'm able to set a Pyramid Turtle on my first turn and have an opponent's monster attack out Endless Decay, and he automatically has 4,000. attack, which really gives you a pretty strong field presence, which the zombies, that was one of the weaknesses I tried to compensate for, was their lack of overall strength and attack-wise. So that's why I also threw 2 solidarities in, and even 1 really helps out, but if you get 2 on the field, you're pretty much unstoppable. Especially when you have a good swarm going, if you got enough Mezukis in the graveyard. Speaking of Mezuki, he's probably like the biggest workhorse, or one of the biggest workhorses of the deck. I do my best to try to get him in the graveyard, you know, either destroyed by battle, or just use Foolish Burial, or, you know, try to sacrifice him in so I can get him in the graveyard, and then some other bigger guys like Red-Eye Zombie Dragon, or maybe if I don't have it as big as guys out, you know, maybe Paladin of the Curse Dragon, Zombie Master, maintain field presence, swarm a bit, or even Bone Crusher. I really like Bone Crusher because you could special summon him out, maybe destroy a, you know, pesky spell or trap, or just destroy one in general, just in case maybe your opponent has one in your set and you don't really know exactly what it is. Just special summon him out by Mezuki or Zombie Masters or Book of Life, and I mean, you've taken care of that problem if you don't have a Mystical Space Typhoon handy. So they've been proven to be really helpful too. Spirit Reaper, of course, always a great stall card. If you're in a bit of a bind, I know he saved my ass about 4 or 5 times. Allowed me to build up some of my strength, maybe get a Mirror Force, or, you know, compulsory evacuation device, or, you know, something like that to really try turning the tide, get some of my monsters back on the field. The other 2 cards I really like is monster-wise is Red Ogre. I know he costs 2 tributes to get out, but it's definitely worth it if you have some additional cards in your hand, or you can just special summon them and get a 2800 beater on the field, which is always awesome. Malevolent Mech, I used to run a Ryu Kuki in the deck. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but whatever. And I put Malevolent Mech in, and he was way better. I was a bit skeptical at first because I was afraid that, you know, one of my other zombies would get destroyed, or I wouldn't have Zombie Roll on the field, so I would take that 2400 damage. But so far, I've been able to swarm pretty well, and, you know, or have Zombie Ward out in the field when I had Malevolent Mech Goku in out. So, you know, he's been more of a positive than a negative. I'm glad I put him into the deck. So of course, spell-wise, I mean, I also run a Burial from a Different Dimension as well, just to get a lot of the Mezukis back. I remember putting that in about a month ago and trying to get the Mezukis, because I was running a Shuten Doji at the time, and I eventually took them out and just replaced them with an Air Pyramid Turtle. And Burial's just been a way better card. Especially if it's a little later in the game, I already have like 2 or 3 Mezukis in the graveyard. Just bring them back out, you know, use their effects again, get out like a Red-Eye Zombie Dragon, or Red Ogre, or, you know, whatever I really need at the time. Maybe a Spirit Reaper that's been destroyed. So it's always good cards. Same with Book of Life. If I'm ever in a bind and I don't really have the Mezukis, and hopefully the opponent has a monster or 2 in the grave, I could just use that and automatically get back some of my more powerful monsters. I also have a pretty stellar trap lineup with Mirror Forces, Dimensional Prisons, Bottomless Trap Hole, Compulsory Evacuation Device, of course. I know traps slow you down a bit, but definitely good when you have to go on to defensive, because if you try to do pure offense, you're not going to really have a good time, to say the least. Especially if you get screwed over like by a single trap, or, you know, opponent summons a stronger monster. Also put 2 Dark Bribes in there just to go along with Mystical Space Typhoons and Bone Crushers, just to get rid of anything that's pesky that might stop me and slow me down. Because I just want to get rid of a lot of the opponent's monsters, and maybe essentially if I can use Terraforming or get a Zombie World out, you know, I'm pretty much golden. I can just turn the tide really easily, just swarm. So other than that, I think it's a pretty solid build overall. It has the speed aspect to it. Definitely the swarm works really well. I can really get a lot of the guys up. Solidarities help. Malevolent Mech, Goku N really helps out too. Mezukis. Overall, it's just a really solid zombie deck. Definitely better than the first one I put together back in 2010, which revolved around Vampire Genesis, and that just failed pretty epically. But this one came out rather nicely. I'm very proud of it. If you're interested in doing a zombie deck, I know this can definitely be modified for competitive play. But for what it is, I was looking for a more pure zombie take anyway, so if you guys enjoy what you're seeing here, I mean, I'd suggest highly just, give it a shot, see what you think. But until next time, everyone, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel. Maybe leave a like, even a comment, and we'll see you later.